Jessica Williams stood, shaking at the bank counter, her voice small but firm. "I didn't take anything. This is my money." The 13-year-old black girl clutched an envelope with $700, her birthday cash from her grandmother. Her heart raced with excitement moments ago, but now fear crept in. She just wanted to open her first checking account, a step toward proving she was grown up. But Sharon Mitchell, the bank manager, stared at her with cold eyes, her lips curling into a sneer. "A kid like you with this much money? No way. Where'd you steal it from?" Jessica's stomach dropped. Tears stung her eyes as she tried to explain. "It's from my grandmother. I saved it." Sharon leaned closer, her voice sharp. "Don't lie to me. Girls like you don't walk in here with cash like that." The words hit Jessica like a slap. She didn't understand why this woman was so mean. The bank lobby buzzed with people, but it felt like the world shrank to just Jessica and Sharon. Jennifer Adams, the teller, stood nearby, arms crossed, smirking. Jessica's school uniform, crisp and neat from Westfield Preparatory Academy, felt like it didn't matter. She reached into her backpack, pulling out her school ID and a birthday card with her grandmother's handwriting. "Look, this proves it's mine," she said, her voice breaking. Sharon barely glanced at the card. "Anyone can fake a card," she snapped. "You're not fooling me." Jessica's hands shook as she laid out her savings account statements, showing $1,100 from years of allowances and small gifts. Sharon scoffed. "These could be fake, too. I've seen this before. Kids like you trying to pull scams." Jessica's eyes filled with tears. She'd spent weeks planning this moment, researching accounts, practicing what to say. She wanted to make her mom proud, to show she could handle things on her own. Now, she felt small, trapped under Sharon's glare. "Please, just call my mom," Jessica begged. "Her name's Angela Williams. She banks here." Sharon laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the quiet lobby. "Save your story for the police," she said, grabbing the phone. "Yes, I need officers now. I've got a young thief trying to deposit stolen money." Jessica froze. Police? Her heart pounded. She hadn't done anything wrong. Why wouldn't they listen? Across town, Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams sat in a sleek boardroom, unaware of her daughter's nightmare. As CEO of Williams Financial Group, she was deep in a meeting about a $50 million deal. Her phone buzzed with a text, but she didn't see it yet. Angela had built a careful life for Jessica, hiding their family's wealth to keep her grounded. They lived in a nice but modest house, and Jessica took the bus to school, unaware their family owned stakes in banks like this one. Angela wanted her daughter to learn hard work and kindness before discovering their $2 billion empire. Back at the bank, Jennifer chimed in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Westfield Prep, huh? Bet you stole that uniform, too." Jessica's cheeks burned. She went to one of the best schools, had a 4.0 GPA, and still they saw her as a criminal. "I'm not a thief," she said, her voice cracking. "I just want to open an account." Sharon shook her head. "I've been in banking 20 years. I know trouble when I see it." She dialed the police again, louder this time. "Hurry. She's getting aggressive." Jessica's tears fell faster. Aggressive? She was just standing there, holding her papers. The lobby grew tense. Customers glanced over, some uncomfortable, others curious. Nobody spoke up. Jessica felt alone, her confidence crumbling. Then a twist, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She'd texted her mom before Sharon took over. "Mom, help. Bank thinks I stole money." Angela's meeting paused as she read the message. Her face hardened. She excused herself, grabbed her keys, and headed out. Sharon had no idea the storm coming her way. Jessica's mom wasn't just a parent. She was a force who could shake the bank to its core. Jessica stood frozen in the bank lobby, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone. The hum of the air conditioner mixed with whispers from customers watching her like she was a show. Sharon Mitchell, the bank manager, leaned against the counter, her arms crossed, a smug look on her face. "You're not going anywhere until the police get here," she said, her voice sharp like a knife. Jessica's heart pounded. She wanted to run, but knew it would make things worse. "I didn't do anything," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Jennifer Adams, the teller, laughed softly. "Keep saying that. Nobody's buying it. Jessica's eyes darted to the glass doors, hoping her mom would burst through. Where was she? Outside, Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams sped through the city in her black SUV. Her phone sat on the passenger seat, Jessica's text glowing on the screen. Mom, help. Bank thinks I stole money. Angela's hands gripped the wheel tight, her mind racing. She'd spent years shielding Jessica from the world's harshness, teaching her to be kind and strong. Now, her daughter was alone, facing something Angela knew too well, people judging her for her skin. She pressed harder on the gas, weaving through traffic. She hadn't told Jessica about their family's wealth, not wanting it to change her. But today, that secret was about to come out. Back in the bank, the doors swung open, and two police officers, Walsh and Santos, stormed in. Their boots echoed on the marble floor, making Jessica flinch. Officer Walsh, tall and stern, scanned her like she was already guilty. "This the kid?" he asked Sharon, who nodded. "Caught her trying to deposit stolen money," Sharon said, holding up Jessica's envelope like it was evidence. Jessica shook her head, tears spilling. "It's my birthday money. For my grandmother." Officer Santos, shorter but just as cold, stepped closer. "Calm down, kid. Let's see some ID." Jessica fumbled with her backpack, pulling out her school ID again. "Here," she said, her voice shaking. Santos glanced at it, then tossed it on the counter. "Doesn't prove anything." Sharon smirked. "I told you she's trouble. Probably learned it from her family." Jessicalery. System. Jessica's heart sank even further. The word family stung, twisting the knife of Sharon's accusations. She thought of her mom, who always told her to hold her head high no matter what. But now, surrounded by glaring adults, she felt smaller than ever. "My mom will explain everything," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Sharon rolled her eyes. "Sure she will. Sit tight, kid." Jennifer leaned over the counter, whispering to Sharon, loud enough for Jessica to hear. "But her mom's in on it too." The words burned, but Jessica didn't react. She kept her eyes on the floor, praying her mom's car would pull up soon. Outside, Angela's SUV screeched to a stop in the bank's parking lot. She grabbed her phone and stormed toward the entrance, her heels clicking with purpose. Inside, the mood shifted when Officer Walsh's radio crackled. "Backup's on the way," a voice said. Jessica's stomach twisted. Backup? This was getting bigger than she'd imagined. She glanced at the customers, some now looking away, embarrassed. One older woman met her eyes, her face soft with pity, but she didn't speak. Jessica felt a spark of anger. Why wasn't anyone helping her? Then a twist nobody saw coming. The bank's phone rang, and Jennifer picked it up. Her face changed, eyes widening as she listened. "Yes, sir," she said, her voice shaky, then hung up. She whispered to Sharon, "That was Chairman Morrison. He's coming here. Now." Sharon's smirk faded. "What? Why?" Jennifer shrugged, nervous. He didn't say, but he sounded angry. Jessica's heart lifted slightly. Chairman Morrison? She'd heard her mom mention him once, something about a big meeting. Could this be connected? She didn't know, but hope flickered inside her. Sharon turned back to Jessica, her voice sharper now. "What did you do? Call someone important?" Jessica shook her head, confused. "Just my mom." Sharon laughed, but it sounded forced. "Your mom? She's nobody. This is my bank." Officer Walsh raised an eyebrow, looking at Sharon. "You sure about this? The chairman doesn't just show up." Sharon's face tightened, but she doubled down. "I'm protecting this bank. She's a thief." Jessica's fists clenched. She wanted to scream, but fear kept her quiet. Angela was steps from the door now, her phone buzzing with a call from Morrison. "I just heard what's happening," he said, his voice tense. "Is Jessica there?" Angela's voice was ice. "Yes, and you better fix this before I do." She hung up, her heart pounding with fury. Jessica wasn't just her daughter. She was her world. Angela had fought her way to the top of Williams' financial group, facing the same kind of prejudice Jessica now faced. She swore this wouldn't break her daughter. Inside, the air grew thick with tension. Customers whispered, sensing something big was coming. Jessica's eyes stayed on the door, her hope hanging by a thread. Sharon noticed and snapped. Stop looking so innocent. It won't help you. But Jessica's mind raced. Her mom always said, stay strong, no matter what they throw at you. She straightened her shoulders, wiping her tears. Sharon's eyes narrowed, caught off guard by the girl's sudden resolve. Jessica's heart raced as she stood in the bank lobby, her eyes locked on the glass doors. The whispers of customers buzzed around her, but all she could hear was her own heartbeat. Sharon Mitchell paced near the counter, her confident smirk gone, replaced by a nervous twitch. This better not be a waste of time, she muttered to Jennifer Adams, who looked uneasy. Jennifer glanced at Jessica, then back at Sharon. What if the chairman knows her mom? She whispered. Sharon snapped. Don't be stupid. She's nobody. I run this place. But her voice shook, betraying her doubt. Jessica clutched her backpack tighter, her mom's words echoing in her head. You're enough, Jessica. Always. She wanted to believe it, but the police officer's stares made her feel like a criminal. Officer Walsh leaned toward Officer Santos, his voice low. Something's off. Why is the chairman coming? Santos shrugged, adjusting his belt. Maybe she's not just some kid. He nodded at Jessica, who caught his words. Her hope sparked again. Could her mom really fix this? She didn't know how, but she clung to the thought. Sharon overheard them and spun toward Jessica. What game are you playing, huh? Who'd you call? Jessica's voice trembled but held firm. I told you my mom. She'll be here. Sharon laughed, but sounded hollow. Your mom's gonna walk in and save the day? Please. The bank doors burst open, and Dr. Angela Rodriguez Williams stepped inside, her presence like a storm. Her tailored suit and sharp gaze silenced the room. Jessica's eyes lit up. Mom, she cried, but Angela held up a hand, her face calm but fierce. She walked straight to Jessica, ignoring Sharon's startled gasp. Are you okay, baby? Angela asked, her voice soft but steady. Jessica nodded, tears spilling. They think I stole the money. Angela's jaw tightened. She turned to Sharon, her eyes like fire. You accuse my daughter of stealing? Sharon stumbled over her words. She had cash, too much for a kid. I was protecting the bank. Angela's voice cut through the air. Protecting it? By humiliating a child? She pulled out her phone, scrolling to a photo of Jessica's birthday card from her grandmother. This is her money. You didn't even check. Sharon's face reddened. I don't have to explain myself to you. Jennifer stepped forward, trying to back Sharon up. We followed protocol. She looked suspicious. Angela's eyes narrowed. Suspicious? Because she's black and 13. The room went quiet. Customers shifted uncomfortably, some nodding in agreement, others looking away. Then, a twist hit like a shockwave. The doors opened again, and Chairman Morrison walked in, his face grim. Sharon froze. Mr. Morrison, she stammered, I didn't expect you. Morrison ignored her, walking to Angela. Dr. Williams, I'm so sorry. I got your call. Jessica's eyes widened. Her mom knew the chairman. Sharon's mouth opened, but no words came out. Morrison turned to her, his voice cold. You called the police on a child without verifying her documents? Sharon sputtered. I thought she was a thief. Look at her. Morrison's face hardened. You thought wrong. Jessica watched, her fear mixing with confusion. Why did the chairman know her mom? Angela knelt beside her, whispering, I didn't want you to find out this way, but we own part of this bank. Jessica's jaw dropped. Her mom, the one who made her pack her own lunch and take the bus on the bank? It didn't make sense. Officer Walsh stepped back, whispering to Santos, We messed up. She's not just anybody. Santos nodded, his face pale. Let's wait for her mom to sort this out. Sharon tried to recover, pointing at Jessica. You can't just walk in and take over. I followed the rules. Angela stood, her voice calm but deadly. Rules? You judged my daughter before she opened her mouth. That's not rules, that's bias. The crowd murmured, some recording on their phones. Jessica felt a spark of strength. Her mom was fighting for her, and people were listening. But Sharon wasn't done. You're bluffing, she said, her voice rising. You can't touch me. Angela smiled, a dangerous glint in her eyes. Watch me. Jessica's head spun as she stood in the bank lobby, her mom's words echoing. We own part of this bank. Her mom, Angela, stood tall, her eyes locked on Sharon Mitchell, who looked like she'd been slapped. The air felt heavy, charged with tension. Customers whispered, phones still recording, capturing every word. Chairman Morrison stood beside Angela, his face tight with anger. Sharon's confidence crumbled, but she tried to hold her ground. "This is ridiculous," she said, her voice shaking. "You can't just walk in here and throw your weight around." Angela's smile was cold. "I'm not throwing anything. I'm taking back what's mine, my daughter's dignity." Jessica's heart pounded with a mix of pride and confusion. She looked at her mom, who always seemed so normal, packing her lunches, cheering at her school plays. Now, she was someone else, someone powerful. Jessica wanted to ask a million questions, but the bank felt like a battlefield, and she didn't dare speak. Officer Walsh shifted uncomfortably, whispering to Officer Santos, "We should have checked her story first." Santos nodded, his eyes on Angela. "Yeah, this is above our pay grade." Jessica caught their words, and a small spark of hope grew. Maybe they were starting to see she wasn't a thief. Sharon pointed at Angela, her finger trembling. "You think you can scare me? I've run this branch for years. I know what I'm doing." Angela stepped closer, her voice low but sharp. "You know what you're doing? You saw a black girl with cash and decided she's a criminal. That's not management, that's prejudice." The crowd gasped. A young woman in the back nodded, muttering, "She's right." Sharon's face turned red. She turned to Morrison for support. "Sir, you can't let her talk to me like this. I was protecting the bank." Morrison shook his head. "You embarrassed us, Sharon. You didn't even verify her documents." Then came a twist that made Jessica's jaw drop. Morrison pulled out his phone, showing Angela a text. "This came from the board. They're watching this online." He glanced at the customers, some still filming. "It's gone viral." Sharon's eyes widened. "Viral," she stammered. Jennifer, the teller, stepped back, her face pale. "People are posting it," she whispered. Morrison nodded. "The whole world's seeing how you treated this girl." Jessica's stomach flipped. Strangers were watching her humiliation. She felt exposed, but also a strange sense of power. People were seeing the truth. Angela turned to Jessica, her voice soft. "I'm so sorry, baby. I never wanted you to face this." Jessica's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "It's okay, Mom. Just make it stop." Angela squeezed her hand, then faced Sharon again. "You think this is just about my daughter? This is about every kid you've judged before they could speak." Sharon opened her mouth, but no words came. Jennifer tried to jump in, her voice shaky. "We didn't mean it like that. It's just protocol." Angela cut her off. "Protocol doesn't mean accusing a child without proof." Another twist hit. The bank's security guard, a quiet man who'd been watching from the corner, stepped forward. "I saw everything," he said, his voice steady. "They didn't even look at her papers properly." Jessica's eyes widened. Someone was on her side? Sharon snapped, "Stay out of this, Carl." But Morrison raised a hand. "Let him speak." Carl looked at Jessica, his eyes kind. She showed her ID and card right away. They laughed at her. The crowd murmured, some clapping. Jessica felt a rush of gratitude. She wasn't alone anymore. Sharon's voice rose, desperate. "This is my branch. You can't do this." Angela's eyes flashed. "Your branch? My family's money built this bank, and we can tear it down." Jessica's mind reeled. Her mom wasn't just rich. She was powerful enough to scare Sharon. Morrison stepped in, his voice firm. "Sharon, you're suspended, effective now. We'll investigate this fully." Sharon's face fell, her hands shaking. "Suspended? You can't." But Morrison's look silenced her. Jessica watched, her fear fading, replaced by a quiet strength. Her mom was fighting, and the truth was coming out. Jessica's heart pounded as she watched Sharon Mitchell's face twist in panic. The bank lobby felt like a pressure cooker, with customers murmuring and phones still recording. Sharon's suspension hung in the air like a storm cloud, but Jessica could see she wasn't ready to give up. "You can't do this!" Sharon shouted at Chairman Morrison, her voice cracking. "I've given my life to this bank." Morrison's face stayed hard. "You shamed us, Sharon. This isn't just about you. It's about trust." Jessica glanced at her mom, Angela, whose eyes burned with quiet fury. Jessica felt a mix of awe and fear. Her mom was like a superhero, but the fight wasn't over. Angela turned to the officers, Walsh and Santos, who stood awkwardly near the counter. "You arrested my daughter without checking her story," she said, her voice sharp but calm. Walsh shifted, his face red. "We got a call about a theft. We had to act." Angela stepped closer. "You had to act? Or you assumed she was guilty because of how she looks?" Santos looked down, muttering, "We followed procedure." Jessica's chest tightened. She remembered their cold stares, the way they grabbed her arms. She wanted to yell, but her mom's strength kept her steady. Then, a new twist shook the room. A woman in the crowd, holding a phone, spoke up. "I know Jessica," she said, stepping forward. "She's in my daughter's class at Westfield Prep." Jessica's eyes widened. It was Mrs. Carter, her friend's mom. "She's a good kid, always helping others." "This is wrong." The crowd buzzed louder, some nodding. Sharon snapped, "Stay out of this. You don't know anything." But Mrs. Carter didn't back down. "I know you didn't even ask her side. I recorded it all." She held up her phone, showing a video of Sharon's harsh words. Jessica's heart lifted. Someone else was fighting for her. Sharon's face went pale. "You can't use that," she said, lunging toward Mrs. Carter. Morrison stepped between them, his voice booming. "Enough, Sharon. You're making it worse." Jennifer Adams, the teller, tried to slip behind the counter, but Angela's gaze stopped her. "You laughed at my daughter," Angela said. "You called her a thief, too. Don't think you're off the hook." Jennifer's eyes darted away, her hands shaking. Jessica felt a spark of justice. They couldn't hide now. Another twist came fast. Morrison's phone buzzed, and he glanced at it, his face tightening. "The board's calling an emergency meeting," he said, looking at Angela. "They want you there, Dr. Williams." Jessica's mind raced. Her mom was going to a board meeting? She still couldn't believe her family owned part of the bank. Angela nodded, her voice steady. "Tell them I'm coming. But first, I want my daughter's name cleared." Morrison agreed, turning to the officers. "Release her. This was a mistake." Walsh hesitated, then nodded. "We'll need to file a report," he said, but his tone was softer now. Jessica's tears slowed, but her hands still shook. She looked at her mom, who pulled her close. "I'm so proud of you for staying strong," Angela whispered. Jessica's voice broke. "Why didn't you tell me about the bank?" Angela sighed, her eyes soft. "I wanted you to grow up normal, not thinking money makes you better. But today, you needed to know." Jessica nodded, her heart heavy but warm. Her mom's love was her anchor. Sharon wasn't done. "This isn't over," she hissed, glaring at Angela. "You think you can ruin me? I have friends in this industry." Angela's smile was icy. "Friends won't help you when the world sees who you are." The crowd cheered quietly, some clapping. Jessica felt their support, like a wave lifting her up. But Sharon's eyes burned with rage, hinting at something darker. "You'll regret this," she muttered, storming toward the back office. Jessica's stomach twisted. What was Sharon planning? Jessica stood close to her mom in the bank lobby, her heart still racing. The crowd's murmurs felt like a distant hum, but Sharon's last words, "You'll regret this," hung heavy in her mind. Angela's arm around her felt like a shield, but Jessica couldn't shake the fear that something worse was coming. Sharon had stormed off to the back office, her face twisted with anger. Chairman Morrison was on his phone, his voice low as he spoke to the board. "Yes, I'm handling it," he said, glancing at Angela. "Dr. Williams is here." Jessica's mind spun. Her mom was about to face the board. She wanted to know more, but the tension in the room kept her quiet. Angela turned to Jessica, her voice soft. "Stay here with Mrs. Carter, okay? I need to fix this." Jessica nodded, her throat tight. "Be careful, Mom." Mrs. Carter, the mom from school, stood nearby, her phone still out. "I've got her," she said, smiling at Jessica. "You're brave, kid." Jessica's cheeks warmed. For the first time, she felt seen, not judged. But her eyes darted to the back office, where Sharon's shadow moved behind the glass. What was she doing? A twist hit like lightning. The bank's security system beeped loudly, and a screen on the counter flashed, alert, suspicious activity. Morrison frowned, stepping toward the screen. "What's this?" he asked Jennifer, who looked panicked. I don't know, she stammered. Jessica's stomach dropped. Had Sharon done something? Officer Walsh moved to the screen, his eyes narrowing. It says someone tried to access the vault logs. Santos looked at Sharon's office. She's in there. Alone. The crowd gasped. Phones pointed at the drama. Jessica's heart raced. Was Sharon trying to cover her tracks? Morrison banged on the office door. Sharon, get out here. The door opened slowly, and Sharon stepped out, her face pale but defiant. What now? She snapped. Morrison pointed to the screen. Did you just try to delete records? Sharon's eyes widened, but she laughed, a nervous edge to it. That's crazy. I was checking emails. Jennifer shifted, her voice shaky. You told me to stay out of there. Said you needed privacy. Sharon shot her a glare. Shut up, Jennifer. The crowd buzzed, sensing her guilt. Another twist came fast. Mrs. Carter's phone pinged, and she gasped. The video's got 1 million views already, she said, showing Angela the screen. Comments flooded in. This is racism. Fire that manager. Jessica's eyes widened. The world was watching, and they were on her side. But Sharon's face twisted with rage. You're ruining me, she yelled at Angela. You and your kid planned this. Angela's voice was ice. Planned? You judged my daughter before she spoke. That's on you. Jessica's chest swelled. Her mom's words gave her strength, but Sharon's anger scared her. Then a third twist. Officer Walsh's radio crackled. We've got a report, the voice said. Sharon Mitchell filed a complaint against the Williams family last month. Claimed they were shady. Angela's eyes narrowed. You what? Sharon smirked, regaining some confidence. I knew your name sounded familiar. I flagged your accounts for fraud. Just doing my job. Morrison's face darkened. You targeted them without evidence. Sharon shrugged. I had a hunch. Jessica's jaw dropped. Sharon had been watching her family? The thought made her skin crawl. Angela stepped closer to Sharon, her voice low. You tried to ruin us before today. Now you're finished. Sharon laughed, but it was weak. You can't touch me. My record's clean. Morrison shook his head. Not anymore. The board's reviewing your entire history here. Jessica watched Sharon's smirk fade. The officers exchanged looks, sensing the tide turning. Walsh spoke up. We'll need to take statements. This is getting messy. Jessica's hope grew, but Sharon's glare told her this wasn't over. Something in her eyes said she had one last move.
Jessica's hands shook as she stood in the bank lobby, her mom's arm around her like a lifeline. The air buzzed with tension, customers still filming, their whispers mixing with the hum of the bank's machines. Sharon Mitchell's glare burned into Angela, her last threat, I had a hunch, still hanging in the air. Jessica's heart raced. Sharon had targeted her family before? It felt personal now, like a trap set long ago. Angela's face was calm, but her eyes blazed. You flagged us for fraud, she said, her voice low and dangerous. You've been after my family, and now my daughter pays for it. Sharon smirked, but it wavered. I protect this bank. You're not as clean as you think. Chairman Morrison stepped forward, his phone still buzzing with messages from the board. Sharon, you're digging your own grave, he said. Flagging accounts without proof? That's not protocol, that's personal. Sharon's face twitched. I had reasons, she snapped. Big money, no clear source. It's my job to question it. Jessica's stomach twisted. Her family's wealth was a secret even to her, but Sharon's words made it sound dirty. She looked at her mom, whispering. Is she lying? Angela squeezed her shoulder. She's desperate, baby. Don't let her scare you. A twist hit hard. Jennifer Adams, the teller, suddenly spoke up, her voice shaky. It wasn't just Sharon, she said, avoiding eye contact. She told me to watch your family's accounts too. Said you were trouble. The crowd gasped, phone zooming in. Morrison's eyes narrowed. You knew about this, Jennifer? Jennifer's face went red. I just followed orders. Sharon spun on her, furious. Don't drag me down with you. Jessica's jaw dropped. Jennifer was turning on Sharon? It felt like the walls were closing in on them both. Another twist came fast. Officer Walsh's radio crackled again. Dispatch here. We've got records of multiple complaints from Ms. Mitchell against the Williams family. all dismissed for lack of evidence. Santos looked at Sharon, his voice cold. You've been after them for months? Sharon's eyes darted around, searching for an escape. That's not true, she shouted. They're twisting it. But the crowd wasn't buying it. A man in a suit called out, You targeted a kid because of her last name? Jessica felt a surge of strength. People were seeing Sharon for who she was. Angela's voice cut through the noise. You didn't just judge my daughter. You judged us all. Our name, our skin, our success. She turned to Morrison. I want her gone. And I want this bank to answer for letting her run wild. Morrison nodded, his face grim. The board's already discussing termination. This ends today. Sharon's face crumpled, but she fought back. You can't fire me. I have rights. Morrison's voice was steel. You had a chance to do right. You chose wrong. Then a third twist. Mrs. Carter, still holding her phone, shouted, The news is here. Jessica turned to the glass doors, where a van with a local news logo pulled up. Reporters rushed in, cameras flashing. Dr. Williams, is this racial profiling? One asked. Angela faced them, her voice steady. My daughter came to open an account. They called her a thief. You tell me. The crowd roared, some chanting, Justice for Jessica. Jessica's heart swelled, but fear lingered. The world was watching, but what would Sharon do now? Sharon lunged toward a reporter, yelling, They're lying. It's a setup. Officer Santos grabbed her arm. Calm down, ma'am. You're not helping yourself. Sharon pulled free, her eyes wild. You'll all pay for this. Jessica's breath caught. Sharon's desperation was dangerous. Angela pulled Jessica closer, whispering, She can't hurt us anymore. But Jessica wasn't sure. Sharon's glare said she wasn't done fighting, and the news cameras meant this was far from over. Jessica stood in the bank lobby, her mom's arm around her, feeling the weight of every eye on them. The news cameras flashed, reporters shouting questions, while Sharon Mitchell's wild glare darted between Angela and the crowd. This is a setup. Sharon yelled, her voice breaking as Officer Santos held her back. Jessica's heart raced, but she felt stronger now, her mom's strength flowing into her. The crowd's chants of justice for Jessica echoed, giving her courage. Angela faced the reporters, her voice clear. My daughter wanted to open an account. They called her a thief because of her skin. That's the truth. The crowd cheered louder, phones capturing every moment. Chairman Morrison raised his hands, silencing the room. This bank failed Jessica Williams, he said. Sharon Mitchell is fired, effective immediately. Sharon's face went white. Fired, she gasped. You can't. I built this branch. Morrison's eyes were cold. You broke our trust. And Jennifer, you're suspended pending review. Jennifer's jaw dropped, her voice a whisper. Me? I just followed her. But nobody listened. Jessica's chest swelled. They were finally paying for what they did. A twist hit like a thunderclap. A reporter held up her phone, reading a breaking news alert. The bank's board just issued a statement. They're launching a full investigation into Sharon Mitchell's actions, including her past complaints against the Williams family. The crowd gasped. Angela nodded, her voice firm. Good. Let them see every lie she told. Sharon shook her head, tears in her eyes. I was doing my job. But Officer Walsh stepped forward, his tone sharp. Your job? You targeted a family for no reason. We're looking into you too. Santos added. And we're under review for how we handled this. We messed up. Jessica's eyes widened. Even the police were facing consequences? Another twist came fast. Mrs. Carter, still filming, shouted. The video's got 10 million views now. People are demanding change. The crowd roared, some chanting, Fix the bank. Jessica's heart soared. Her pain was turning into power, reaching the world. Angela turned to Morrison. This isn't just about firing them. I want new rules, training policies, so no kid faces what Jessica did. Morrison nodded. It's already in motion. We're calling it the Williams Initiative. Jessica's breath caught. An initiative named after her? She felt tears, but they were different now, proud, not scared. Sharon made one last move. You think you've won? She hissed at Angela. I'll sue you all. But a final twist crushed her. Morrison held up a tablet, showing an email from the bank's legal team. Your contract has a clause against misconduct. You've got no case, Sharon, and no job in this industry. Sharon's shoulders slumped, her fight gone. She stumbled out, the crowd parting like she was invisible. Jennifer followed, head down, muttering, I didn't mean it. Jessica watched them go, feeling justice settle in her bones. Weeks later, Jessica walked back into the bank, her head high. She opened her checking account, the new manager smiling warmly. The Williams Initiative had rolled out anti-bias training, new hiring rules, and a scholarship for kids like her. Angela stood beside her, whispering, You changed things, baby. Jessica smiled, her voice strong. I want to keep fighting, Mom. For others. She started speaking at schools, sharing her story, inspiring kids to stand up. The viral video became a movement, sparking protests and policy changes across banks and police stations. The moral lesson was clear. One voice, even a young one, could shake a system. Jessica learned her worth wasn't in her family's money, but in her courage to face wrong and demand right. Angela's love and power showed her that fighting for justice was stronger than hate. And for anyone facing prejudice, Jessica's story said, You're not alone, and your truth can change the world.